I'm going to teach you how to properly progress as a new player so that you can have lots of silver and high fame levels so that you can do PvP, you'll deal lots of damage, have lots of defense, lots of HP, and plenty of silver to spend. So this guide is going to cover a way to progress with zero risk. It's completely safe. You will not lose time invested or silver. It does not rely on luck, RNG, market manipulation. It doesn't rely on paying real money. It doesn't rely on other players at all. You can do this completely solo, guildless, and antisocial. You never have to join anyone's Discord or serve in a guild or anything like that. This method is completely stress-free. There is zero stress. It's super easy to do. Nothing challenging, nothing difficult. And you can binge watch anime or movies or listen to music or whatever it is you like to do. Maybe even YouTube videos while you do this method. Let's get started. So step 1 is during the tutorial, you need to farm rough stone or mules for extra starter cash. Now, as of the filming of this video, the mule market has been completely destroyed, so this might be available in the future, but you have to check the price of rough stones, otherwise you might not be making as much as some other people during different times of the economy. So what I mean by that is you can farm rough stone in the tutorial, and right now, on West, it's worth 124 silver each. This is about 6 times more expensive than any tier 2 material you can gather currently as a new player. Therefore, this will give you enough starting cash to escalate you forward, get you better gear, and afford all of the starter things that you might need. Now, you may have to do this on multiple characters depending on how the economy is, or how greedy you are, or how expensive the gear is that you want. But it shouldn't take too long, maybe 1 to 2 hours at most. One of the first things you want to do out of the gate is you want to level Gathering. This is going to be your sustained money maker for the rest of your time in Albion Online, and you're going to be using learning points to do that. So the way it works is you're going to pick one Gathering profession, preferably not fishing, and preferably something that is based on your starter zone. So I tell all newbies that they should go to Bridgewatch because this is the winning faction on both West and East. It's also one of the most convenient for land. It's convenient for traveling to Caerleon with the least amount of gankers. It's great if you want to harvest stone because the high-yield stone zones are only like 3 tiles away. It's also pretty close to the high-yield skinning zone. Skinning is the best gathering profession in the game. Stone mining might be really good next patch, but we'll see. But other than that, stone mining is also great for tier 2. It's probably the second best profession for silver per hour currently as of this recording, and Bridgewatch is the place that you would go to refine stone at a bonus, and also it's just really well placed. There's a high population, good deals. I highly recommend that you go skinning if you want to min-max your silver earning for gathering, and go stone mining if you want something a bit easier, because skinning at the start, it's tedious. You do have to kill enemies and then skin them, so there's an extra time involvement. But once you're more powerful later down the line, you can one-shot all the mobs, and it's very, very easy. So make sure you pick one of these, and you're going to use the learning points. So what I mean by that is as a new player, you start with like 100 learning points. So let's say you pick skinning. You're going to go down to skinning. You're going to unlock the tier 3 skinning. You're going to unlock the tier 4 skinning. And for the tier 5 skinning, it's going to take a few days. But what you will be doing is you're going to get your experience notch to 20% of this line right here. And then you're going to start fame farming. So you're going to be fame farming once you're waiting on those learning points for gathering. You're going to have plenty of silver from that gathering to be able to afford gear upgrades for quite some time. So what you're going to do now is you're going to level up your character's armor, helmet, boots, and weapon by fame farming open world mobs. I highly recommend axes. I recommend most the Warlock tree. The Warlock tree is on the Destiny board. You go straight up, and this is cursed stabs. So you have Journeyman Mage, and then you go up some more, and then you have the Warlock tree. I highly recommend starting with a Cursed Staff, but eventually working your way towards Life Cursed Staff, and eventually Shadow Collar. But eventually, you want to max out all of these at level 100. And the reason why is because the Shadow Collar is the fastest, most powerful weapon in the game. It's also the most expensive weapon in the game for player versus environment, or PvE activities. This weapon will allow you to solo group dungeons. These are dungeons meant for 5 players. You don't need a tank, you don't need a healer, you don't need 3 DPS. You're a Shadow Caller. You can solo it completely. You are the tank. You are the healer. You are the DPS. And this, what this will allow you to do in the future is secure farming combat fame credits. You're going to be able to secure an ability to farm these, which will let you level up anything in the game much faster than using that item. So, for example, if I want to be a quarterstaff fighter, which is on here somewhere, here's the quarterstaff fighter, I don't have to actually equip a quarterstaff and go grind mobs. I can just use my Shadow Caller set and get these combat fame credits, and then I can go from level 1 to 100 mastery, letting me equip tier 8 quarterstaffs. Super easy. I can do that in like 1 hour. Alright, that takes 1 hour, whereas if I were to equip a quarterstaff at like tier 4 here, because I can't use tier 5, and slowly kill mobs with this would take days. So you're, in the long run, you are saving yourself lots of time. And then for specialization, if I wanted to max that out, that would take only a few hours with a Shadow Caller build grinding mobs instead of, again, a couple days using a quarterstaff, or even longer than that. So it's very important that you get that set up, that you start with that. You don't have to use Warlock staffs if you want to. You can use axes, but axes are much slower, so it's really personal choice. So at this point, you should have unlocked your tier 5 gathering and be working towards getting 20% towards your tier 6 gathering. You should have around 100 mastery to wear tier 8 equipment for your fame farming set. In the open world, you're still too weak to do group dungeon mobs right now, and that's totally fine. What you're going to do is you're going to spin that silver, because yes, having lots of silver is nice, but investing it into a set of gear that you can use forever is even better. So what I mean by max out your gear, you're going to use your silver and you're going to buy the tier 5 gathering equipment, but you're also going to buy the Avalonian tier 5 skinning tool, and that's going to give you additional gathering yield over the regular skinning tool. And some people are concerned about the higher repair cost. While the repair cost is higher, that percentage extra that you're earning will completely cover the cost. You will earn more silver and level up faster if you have the Avalonian tool rather than if you didn't. So don't skimp out, always get the Avalonian tool. And as far as your fame farming set goes, you need to be buying the highest tier that you can possibly equip and the highest enchantment level that you can possibly equip, at least up to 0.3. 0.4 is in-game stuff, you don't need to buy that. For example, this 0.4 Shadow Caller is worth 30 million silver. The 0.3 version is only 16 million, half as much. And this only deals very slightly more damage. You don't need 0.4 gear. Just worry about getting 0.3. And yes, this is totally achievable in 3 days' time. So you continue to play, you continue to gather for silver and level up your gathering. You continue to fame farm to get those combat fame credits to put into gear that you want to use for PvP or group dungeons or whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe you found some friends by now and you want to be a main tank or you want to be a healer. That's totally fine. It's whatever that you're into. Now, as a geared new player, which means you have the 8.3 gear sets, you have at least tier 7 gathering unlocked and the Avalonian tools and the tier 7 gathering equipment, it's time to start investing your silver. And there are many different ways you can invest your silver so that it will benefit you in the long term and make you money. The first thing is, and this is a heavy investment, is buying premium. If you can play multiple hours per day, this will increase your gathering and fame farming by a whopping 50% and start giving you focus and give you access to a personal island, which you can start making passive money through growing crops or other such things. You can also start using laborers on that personal island, but it is a very costly expense. The other kind of investment you can do is create your own guild on alt accounts, and then you can put down a guild island. Right now, my character is on a guild island. I have a guild hall and 3 houses. These have laborers on them, and these laborers will make me 1 million silver per month. Now, the cost of making your own guild, getting your first guild island, and the guild halls, the furniture, the housing, the laborers, it's about 5 million total silver. Now, that's going to take you 5 months to pay back from just the island's income. After that, everything is you're making 1 million per month after that. So what this means is that if you don't plan to play this game for a long time, that is a bad investment. But if you plan to play for the next 3 years, you're going to be you know, you're going to have way more silver than if you didn't do this step. So it's very important to invest into one of these two things. Either get premium to get the personal islands or get the guild halls going. And you can always get more than one guild hall. You can create infinite alt characters and alt accounts. It's totally allowed. I personally have 100 total islands from either having premium personal islands and a mix of guild islands. Currently, I only use 10 guild islands. That's about all I can stand to play, and that only takes about 15 to 20 minutes out of my day. So it's, again, those 10 guild islands, those 10 guild halls, they're making me 10 million silver a month passively. It doesn't cost me any money. It just costs me a tiny little bit of time to feed these laborers and send them on their way, and then they return with a bunch of resources, which makes me more money. Now that you are an established player, this means that you have an active premium. You have over 120 million silver. You have 8.4 equipment. You have tier 8 gathering. You have most mounts that you're going to be using, the high quality tier 8 good mounts, the faction mounts, and so on. You have 100 specs in your equipment. It's time to start investing in crafting. I recommend becoming a chef because it's the cheapest one to max out, and it's the most in demand. It's also the laziest way to make silver, with the least amount of math and the least amount of spreadsheets compared to other crafting, and it doesn't require a hideout in a black zone with a guild to min-max your earnings. The reason why you want to invest in crafting is because you want to maximize the return rate of your focus points, because that's going to make you more silver than anything else in the game once you have it leveled up. It is going to basically, it's going to kill the fun of the game. Essentially, you're going to make so much silver from crafting that you can always afford premium, and that killing other players or gathering becomes completely irrelevant because you can push craft in 15 minutes and make multiple millions of silver than you would spending an hours grinding and gathering for the same amount of silver. And crafting becomes so profitable that you don't even need to fame farm anymore. You don't need to go grind mobs. You can just use the money from your crafting to buy tomes of insight and then eat them all to max out whatever you want to level up. At this point in the game, you've become an expert. At this point, once you have maxed out crafting, you are now considered a veteran or an expert player of Albion Online. Now you can play the game. You can go out in expensive 8.1 sets, or even more expensive if you want, because you'll be able to just push craft and make all that money back in seconds. You'll be able to explore the Black Zone, Avalonian Roads, the Mists, whatever it is you want to do. You are free to do so because you will have the backing of good gear, max crafting. Everything that can make you silver will be there to make you silver. You don't have to credit card swipe. You'll have the specialization and the high levels to be able to PvP with other players. And at this point, the only thing I can recommend is that you become a Twitch streamer or a YouTube streamer. You could also become a YouTuber, and I can help you out with that. But that's a topic for another time. After that, you have become a legend of Albion Online. At this point, you can change the meta. You can make things popular, unpopular, cool, uncool. It's entirely up to you. You can manipulate the market. You can tell people to buy something and they'll go buy it all out. You can tell people to hold on to things and sell them. And you can do all sorts of fun stuff. You can create everlasting memories, which is really the whole point of playing video games in the first place, is to have fun memories to look back on when you're older and unable to play games anymore. And you can sit on your billions of silver and maximum specs and just feel accomplished that you wasted your life on a video game. That's all I've got for this video. I'm SoulBidgy. Thanks for watching. As always, be everyone, stay swole. If you want to become a channel member, right down here where my cursor is bouncing, there's a join button. Feel free to click that. It's $5 a month. It's like on Twitch when you subscribe to somebody, you pay them $5. It helps out the creator. For YouTube, though, you get access to private, more personal videos. Some of those videos are advanced guides, advanced ways to make silver that are just too good for the public. That's why they're, members-only videos. With that said, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next video. Click the video on the right side of your screen. It's begging for it. Don't let it down.